Hi guys, my name is Jess Bagnall. I'm one of the authors for Blood in the Mirror. Today I wanted to talk about Barbies. Yep. So a couple of years ago I started writing these short stories, these little poems, and I twisted them from fairy tales and from known children's stories. One of the first ones that I wrote was Barbie and Ken, and I called it Wax Horrors. I got the idea from a friend. I was asking around on what to write because I still wasn't used to just having ideas and just writing them. So she came up with Barbie and Ken. So my friend, she's small, she's blonde, she collects Barbies, she wears pink, a lot of pink. And she wanted to see what I would do with it. So I read the little story for you and then I will talk you through the idea behind it all. She was Barbie, he was Ken. She stood there tall and straight, always smiling, always the same. Ken had a dark secret he hid from Barbie. He'd stalk the night looking for prey, only to return to create an abomination. He liked Barbies. Ever since his first, he'd always dunk them head first. He lured them into a false pretense with a smile, very sleek, once in the house of horrors where he'd strike. With a Mad Hatter's vibe and a Frankenstein's lunacy in his house of wax. In his false body. So the idea was it was off of the fact that Barbies are or used to be made of wax, just like the old mannequin dolls used to be dipped in wax. So I thought, well, what if Ken, yes, he works out, yes, he's ripped, yes, he does all of the things that Barbies in this day and age like. What if he had a secret? What if he was psychotic, basically, and he would take these Barbies, his women of choice, take them from wherever he picked them up and he'd lure them in. And to begin with, I think I used a dog, and then I kind of had to take that out because it was too brutal and I just couldn't go with it. But the idea was that he would lure them in with a dog or something cutesy and nice, and these women, they would just help him. And then, because women's libidos kind of betray them sometimes, they would want more, or they would want more, basically. And because he's psychotic, he would take them into his house, or take them into his lair, or whatever you want to call it, and he would show them a good time. And I'm not just thinking sex, I mean wining and dining. Some women do like to be wined and dined, and wooed. So he would do whatever it would take to woo these women, and then he would strike, and he would, I don't know, knock them unconscious somehow with a needle or bat them across the head or something. That's up to the reader's choice. Which is one of the reasons why my story is so vague in the beginning, because I wanted to give the reader the choice to choose what their story would actually look like in their own head. And then I got told I was too vague, so I stopped doing that. And then I wanted to portray how psychotic he was. So it was a case of, he would dunk them in wax. So I think on the original one, he would chain them up, he would change their hair, he would change their physique in some way, he would make up them, if they had like smaller eyes, he'd put makeup around the eyes to make them larger. If they had big lips, he'd liner them inside so that it looked smaller. If they had small lips, he'd do the same on the outside. The idea was he needed them to look perfect, and then he would dunk them in wax and have them stay perfect in his own private collection forever. And one of the original stories was that he stored them in a box and in his house, like a life-size Barbie. And I honestly cannot find where I wrote this story. It is somewhere. I have put it somewhere and I will find it eventually, but this is one of the smallest ones I have. And yeah, that's the story of that. My friend, she's very petite and she's very much like a Barbie, but she has an attitude. See, she is feisty, so I don't think anything like this would ever happen to her. But she was amazing. She loved this story. Thank you, Adele, for giving me this idea. Next time I'll talk about Cinderella. See you all guys in the next one.